It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Your millennial generation doing some incredible things.
Sure.
These tiny homes is a symptom of people who are willing to make a sacrifice in the way they live their life so that they can save. There's all these blogs and others that have people trying to retire by the time they're 40.
Yep.
People trying to retire by the time they're 45, even 50. You know, and so
It's an entire movement.
There's a movement.
It's called the
to retire
FIRE.
early.
The FIRE movement. Did you know that? It's the financial independence retire early movement. It's a whole deal.
Yeah.
It's a big thing out
We
there.
could give some plugs to people that are really big in that movement, but let's keep going. So this FIRE movement of retiring early, what's some tools in your tool belt that will actually facilitate you being able to leave the workforce? So the first thing you're thinking was, I'm loading up every year. I'm loading up these retirement accounts. It seems kind of silly if I think I'm leaving the workforce at 45. How am I going to get this stuff if I can't touch it until I'm 59 and a half?
Sure.
Don't worry. The government has you covered with some pretty cool rules. There's an exception with individual retirement accounts called, you ready for this? Substantial Equal Periodic Payment, or SEPP.
What in the world does that mean, Brian?
Well, what this means is that you can essentially take and annuitize your IRA. You can say, since I'm retiring early, I want to start pulling off of my IRA each year to live off of because I've retired early. And the government has an exception. They say, okay, we're still going to pay income taxes, but we're going to let you out of the penalties because you are using these assets for retirement. Now, here's the trick with this. When you hear this, let me give you the rules and then tell you how this applies to real world, how you're going to make this work. When you do this, here's the catch. If you implement this strategy, you have to keep it in effect for at least 5 years or until you reach 59 and a half. And here's the catch of whichever comes last.
Okay.
Not first, last. So if you're 40 years old and you decide you want to go with this strategy of substantial and equal periodic payments and you start annuitizing or amortizing your IRA, you have to keep doing this until you reach 59 and a half. That's a big commitment.
Yeah,
that's close to 20 years if you're a 40-year-old. So the thing is you're like, well, how do I minimize the risk of doing this? Because that seems like that's a heavy, heavy commitment when I'm so young, is that now I'm going to turn this IRA into an income stream and I'm going to be paying income taxes until I reach 59 and a half.
Right.
So the good news is the government lets you, there's 3 different ways you can figure out your income stream. You can do either the amortization method, the annuitization method, or the required minimum distribution. And here's the planning opportunity. You don't have to do your whole account. You can go and separate out. Say you have a $300,000, $400,000 IRA. You could go set up a new IRA with $100,000 and turn that $100,000 IRA under this strategy. You don't have to do the whole kit and caboodle. So this gives you some planning opportunities that mathematically allows you to go figure out, looking at these 3 different methods, the government lets you choose which one benefits you, and you could essentially create your own pension for yourself. Now, here's where, because I like to give real world stories on this stuff. I have done, over my career of 20, how old am I now? How long have I been doing this? 21, 22 years of doing this. I have done at least 7 spreadsheets where I've presented this to clients who are retiring early, and I have implemented 0. So there is some cool planning opportunity, I think, in theory, when you look at this of, okay, it's cool. We could go segregate out an IRA.
Right.
We could figure out how much I need to live off of monthly.
Right.
And we could structure this IRA to pay me. But then when people get to the point of saying, okay, let's sign the dotted line. Let's go ahead and lock this thing down. They go, wait a minute, I'm signing on that. I'm going to commit to this for the next 12 years.
Yeah.
Man, that's going to really push my income taxes up if I decide that this whole retirement thing's not working. Yet I got to keep taking this until I reach 59 and a half. And usually people chicken out.
Right.
So I think that my cautionary tale on this is make sure you really think you are going to retire, because once you start this income stream, it's rolling until you reach that full retirement age.